I'll move to Mr. Srivastava. And the reason I'll say it, the way I'm looking at it, we have two academics here and two people from the corporate side, right? Academic institutions create the supply of talent from where corporations like us hire. If there is no diversity in academia, corporations will also not get diversity in their organizations. Because, just to give an example, if engineering college has only men and they don't admit women, how can corporations like SAIL hire women engineers? It's a problem, right? So the starting point is society, then there are education institutions, and finally it comes to corporations, because corporations are the last. Working life starts for people after they have got educated. One point ma'am made is about the whole issue of the Snapchat generation, let's call it that, right? And I was having this discussion when we were having lunch with our panel. And I'm going to pose this question to Mr. Srivastava. Yes, there is a Snapchat generation, the South Delhi type, the South Bombay type, maybe the Gurgaon type, of course. But there is also different India. There is an India where people are still studying in villages. There are Indians, and India, just to give you a number, there are 120 lakhs, 1.2 crores of Indians coming out every year looking for a job. Out of which 30 to 40 lakhs are graduates. Many of them, and let's say we are dealing with graduate talent, we are not dealing with people who are going to do manual labor. So there is very many kinds of Indias. And many of these Indians, when they look for a job, what are they looking for? So the point is, we say millennials want to change jobs. They are easily distracted because they're doing WhatsApp and Snapchat. But I look at a Government of India job, and a railways job, there are 5 lakh applicants. So people are wanting job security. If you look at Steel Authority of India, sir said that apparently for 1,000 jobs they have, some 1.5 lakh people applying, right? So how do we do with this? How do we contrast this? There's so many different Indias. So is it right to? So I'm having two questions for you, sir. What is your view? Firstly, do you believe that diversity should be there and there should be multi-generational talent at the workplace? So two questions here. One is your view. How do we do with the difference of that diversity that is inherently there in India? And third, I have a question. If we really believe in multi-generational talent, then why do we have a retirement age?
Let me first introduce myself. Basically, I am from Steel Authority of India Limited, Director Personnel. I have done my BTech in the year 1985 from IIT Kanpur, way back in mechanical engineering. And I have joined the organization and I have remained with the organizations. I am giving this introduction with the aim to finally tell you the difference, what is happening, or what you have said, that as we go along in different years or in different decades, what is happening and why the perception of people are changing over a period of time. Steel Authority is almost a company who has almost completed 61 years in the process of manufacturing steel. So we have, I will say, the generations, even in our own organizations, there are 3 generations who are really working today simultaneously in a one particular steel plant. A father who is almost illiterate or a very minor illiterate, a son who may be a non-executive, and maybe a third one, the next generation who really has gone ahead and provided all kind of a security, and then finally he has become engineer, and finally he has also reached a position where he is finally leading the organization. So a person from a background of who has absolutely no background or a very little knowledge or very little education, we have such kind of a diversity. Then we have also the female executives which are there in the organization, but then as it is already mentioned, at the time of engineering there was hardly a 1% females are there in the engineering. But then if I really tell you that if you really look at when we are initially placing these engineers to the organizations, that where should be the place and which kind of a jobs which we should give to them, there was lots of discussion. But now we are finding that even girls are going ahead, and even the girls who are there as non-executives, they are going as a crane operator. I'm saying crane operator is a position which is almost very, very difficult. If you really imagine, it is like a three-storied, and you are picking a bucket which is almost like a ladle filled with the hot metal. So even that kind of a job a lady is ready to take up. It is not just the driving a car, or it is not just driving a locomotive. It is the driving or moving I will say hot iron, moving from one corner to the another corner and placing it rightly at the right place. That kind of a skill which we think at that one point of time when we have joined 35 years back, that this kind of a job can only be managed by a master skill workman. Now that kind of a job is also being handled by the lady, which is unimaginable if I say when I joined the organization. So, and if you really look at the other part, the different people who have joined in different points of time, it is also a fact that the security at initial stage we are looking for more security, but then as the new millennials or the Generation X or Generation Y as Z is joining, they have a totally different state of mind. They are looking for what kind of a new thing, what kind of a challenge you are providing to me. Whether the challenge is good enough and I will be able to utilize all the skills. If I am not able to utilize my skill, they will really immediately put up and they will leave the organization. But if I am able to provide them the structure or provide them the work which will provide them the security or provide them the provisions, they will definitely going to be settled with the organizations and stay with the organizations, which is very much there in some of the private sectors. You must have heard that in 6 months' time, people are leaving from one job to the another job. But here is one organization, I will say, I am there in that organization for the last 35 years. And it is said that if a person stays in sale for 1 year, he is going to stay for years to come. It is because of the reason, I think, the reasons which you have already provided, and one of them is the kind of atmosphere which an organization is supposed to provide to the individual concerned, the kind of security which you are going to provide to the individual concerned, whether you are providing all the kinds of, like the township, the education, the whatever is required for the children. If you are taking care of all those things, I think even the Generation Z or the persons, they will not going to leave so fast. I think initially, these are my thoughts. Maybe we can discuss it in more detail.